Hey guys, what is going on? It is Gator here, and I don't know about you guys, but I have been playing the Halo Wars 2 beta this week. It came out on Monday and it finishes on Sunday. It's been a decent game to play, and we're here to talk about it. We're gonna do a review about the features, what's new, what's different, what I like, what I dislike. It'll be mainly opinionated, but I'll try and bring in other viewpoints that I've heard from other people, and we'll just talk about the beta overall as well. So, starting off, I just want to let you know that I loved Halo Wars 1. Like, if I were to list off my top 5 games, Halo Wars 1 is definitely in there. For a while there, I was even calling it my favorite game. So I really do love it, and if you don't believe me, I can tell you that I have earned all the achievements in it, and my online rank is General. General is the highest rank. It requires 960,000 experience, and from this picture right here, you can see that I have just over 2.4 million experience, which means I have earned General twice and a half. And I played Halo Wars 1 with like my one buddy, Scatman. I also played it with his older brother, so we do 2v2s, 3v3s, things like that. And Scatman has over 2.7 million experience. So the two of us have played the crap out of this game, and ever since they brought it on backwards compatibility, we've even been going back to it lately. So when they announced Halo Wars 2, naturally we were excited. So we downloaded the beta, and now we can start reviewing it. Off the top, everyone's been talking about how the servers are crap. The game crashes all the time. It was like 13 gigabytes, and then there was a 3 gigabyte update, and then there's going to be another update for when they bring out the new game mode. And like it takes what, 6 hours roughly. For me, it took about 6 hours to download the whole thing, and it crashes all the time. I was trying to play with Scatman's older brother, and 6 games in a row, either he was kicked or I was kicked as soon as we joined the game. We were trying to join a game and play together for like an hour, and we just couldn't. So eventually we gave up because we were just so frustrated. Some people have been saying like they can't even play the game at all. I saw something great on Twitter today where Xbox showed a picture of the top 10 players so far, and one guy commented, "Wow, 10 people can actually access the beta? Congratulations for them." So I had a pretty good laugh at that. And so their servers for their beta, they should have planned for it a little better. I don't know. I guess Halo Wars 1 wasn't as big as most games are, so maybe they weren't expecting so much hype. I don't know what it was. All I know is I was disappointed. The beta overall, obviously it's a beta, so they're looking for things to fix, and they will have left a lot of things out. You know, there are certain elements to the game that I wish were in it, but that could be just because they didn't want to put it in the beta and not because they took out entirely. I know because I played Halo Wars 1, it was an adjustment to get used to the new reactors, but that is something new. Meanwhile, when I was playing as the Covenant guy, I was looking for the shield generators. Where are the shield generators? And I couldn't find it. Whether they took them out or whether it's just not in the beta, I don't know. I guess I'll find out when the game comes out. So some of the things I'm going to say could just be speculation and wrong. They are planning to put it in, they just didn't put it in the beta. Alright, so the first key point I guess I'd talk about is the domination game mode. I honestly hate this game mode. I have played, I think I'm at 8 full games, because like a bunch of them I left to go join a friend's game, or my teammate quit out and so I just didn't really care about it. But like 8 full legitimate games. And the recording you're seeing right now, or the gameplay in the background, this was the first game where my base was actually attacked. And this is like the 5th game I played. Like, there's no fighting on the bases. And it really comes down to, you know, right off the beginning, Scatman, when he plays this, the first thing he does is he sends his troops to the, if he's on the blue side, he sends it to point D, and if he's on the red side, he sends it to point E and captures it. Because as soon as all the places have been captured, they never sit neutral, and so it makes it that there's rarely any attacks on bases. I even played a game where my troops were never attacked by other troops. I went unopposed everywhere I went. So it's very boring. It really is. And the other part is once the points are captured, like as of right now, you can see on the minimap in the bottom right, the other team has 3 points, we have 1 point, and then A is being taken, and they never go back to neutral for the rest of the game. So the game is very quick. You don't get the time to keep on building. I'm looking at the command tree right now, and we'll talk about this later, but row 5, I've only ever had enough command points to reach for row 5 once. And that's upgrading straight down and not doing any left or right stuff. So, like, they don't last that long. For the games, you don't get to experience all the units unless you're playing a game with the goal of experiencing a new unit. If you're playing the game with the goal of hoping to win, you're just going to build the best unit that you already know and love and use. So, you really have to, in order to get the full experience of the beta, you have to go into this game mode thinking, okay, this time I'm gonna build Jackrabbits is one of the units. I haven't used that, but it is a unit in the main base. So you have to go into the game thinking that you're gonna use that, because most of the time I just fall back on my default Hornets or tanks. So I really don't like this game mode. Tomorrow they're taking out Domination and bringing back Deathmatch, and I'm so excited. I'm actually going to be playing a lot more once that comes out. Not only because it's the weekend and I don't have to work, but also because Deathmatch is just better, because then there's actual like fighting of armies. It's not just like, here's a base upgrading simulation where you have to take 1 of 5 or like 3 of 5 points, and after 10 minutes you win. So, you know, that's just kind of my opinion on Domination. Another thing that I do really like, though, is that you start with units and turrets. You'll notice my main base here has 4 turrets, and I started with 5 units. The Covenant guy starts with 10, which is weird why they gave him more. Maybe the units are weaker. I haven't really seen a difference, but that's like super helpful that you have those units. But once again, paired with the Domination, it's almost too powerful in the sense that, like I said, Scatman, the first thing he does is he sends his units to capture a Domination point, because the units you start with are strong enough to capture 2 or 3 Domination points by themselves. So they're almost too powerful in the sense that right off the beginning of the game, you're guaranteed you can capture 3 Domination points as long as the enemy team doesn't oppose you. But it's also super helpful, and I don't know how it'll carry forward into the deathmatch, but if you start with those units again, you know, you could maybe rush the base, but because it has turrets, you don't want to, so it almost kills rushing a little, which is great, because in Halo Wars 1, that was like, you got rushed all the time. That was every winning strategy. There was never really a long-term winning strategy. Meanwhile, you always saw like the tank rush, the scarab rush, the hornet rush, the leader rush. Like, whenever we played a 3v3 and we paired against 3 Covenant, we were just like, oh boy, here come the leader rushes. Oh no. Can we get tanks up that fast? Like, so it was really rough to deal with those rushes, and most of the time in Halo Wars 1, if you managed to shut down a rush and survive, people would quit right away. And it was like, you get no points because all you did was shut down a small rush, but it like was really hard and stressful and it took a lot of time, so it was really annoying. So I'm glad that you start with the turrets. I don't know if I'm glad about the starting with the units. It's like the turrets are a good thing to start with, but the units aren't as good. They're almost bad in a sense. But we'll see how that carries forward. Moving on to the next point, supplies have been in Halo Wars 1, but these energy, or the generators and whatnot, having 2 resources makes it so much more difficult, and I love that. Like, you have to maintain both, you have to make sure you have enough of both. You start with less energy, so I always build the generators first to get my energy up, but you use more supplies. So it's like, you have to keep that in mind, that you know, if you're going to build 5 of them on a base, you want like 2 generators and 3 supply pads, and it's just, I love the second resource because it adds another level of complexity to the game. So it adds, it makes it more interesting. So, and having said that, they added the resource, and they removed reactors. Now that was confusing for me at first. They took out reactors, and they made it that when you upgrade your central base, that's your tech level upgrading. So, you know, the outpost is tech of 0, upgrading to the next one goes to a tech of 1, upgrading to a full base goes to a tech of 2, and then you do the tech of 3 upgrade. Which, I do really like that, because... oh look, Lil Viper, that's Scatman's older brother. Anyway, I do really like that tech upgrade, because it's just, it's like you're gonna upgrade your base to get the full 7 spots. That's just gonna happen. But you may not go for the extra upgrade, which is the 3rd. So you really have to do that 3rd upgrade. Meanwhile, the second one's just kind of a given. And reactors were just so good and bad. Like, there's so many trolls where all they would do is they'd fly into a base, or they'd run into a base, they'd send something into a base, go away, Lil Viper. Anyway, they'd send something into a base, and then they'd 4-mac your double reactor, and it's gone. Or they'd send in an army of Banshees, they'd boost in, they'd shoot out both of your double reactors, and then they'd boost out, and that's such a troll move. It was like, ha 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 ha. It's like almost playing with your food. And so it was really frustrating. However, reactors were good, on the other hand. For last week or 2 weeks ago, Scatman, Lil Viper, and I were playing a 3v3, and Scatman was being attacked. So I went around with my Banshees, and like we were against 2 UNSC, and I destroyed both people's like tech levels entirely. So they attacked my friend, destroyed his base, but I destroyed both their techs and then destroyed their armies. So then they had to rebuild their reactors, re-upgrade them, then rebuild their units. So it was like, it stopped their rush from continuing, so they couldn't attack Scatman's main base after they had destroyed his second base. So, but it was also like one of those troll plays. So they were like good and bad, but I love how they got rid of them. It changes it up, and it's almost like you're gonna go for that second tech level because you want the spots on your base. So it's convenient. Alright. The next thing that I really wanted, another main point that I wanted to talk about, was the leaders. I am really happy with this upgrade tree. This, if you didn't see earlier on, what you do is you hit select, and it opens up your leader's upgrade tree. And from there, you can unlock special abilities. Oh look, see, here's my base being attacked for the first time in Domination ever. I shut it down because I had Wolverines. But, anyway, the leader tree is really cool because in the original Halo Wars, Captain Cutter had his Mag Blast, and he had ODST. Now in this new one, who knows, Captain Cutter could heal his units, he could have Mag Blast, he could have ODST, he could have Cyclops Drop, he could have all of them, depending on how long the game goes. It's up to you how you want to play as Captain Cutter. So, and that's like really awesome because before when you saw Captain Cutter as leader, the first thing you thought was, oh, well, we're going to have anti-infantry stuff to deal with the ODST drop. Now it could be like, well, that may be, but maybe he's going to have Cyclops drop. Or maybe he won't even build ODSTs, he'll just upgrade his Mag Blast entirely. And then that way it's like, you can't predict it as much, you can't predict it as well. So I do really love the upgrade tree for the leaders. What do I hate about the leaders? I hate that there's only 6. There's only 6 in Halo Wars 1. And when you're doing a 3v3, there's like limited options of what you can do. Like, yeah, you can double up on leaders, but it was like, whenever you had a double Anders, they just built anti-air because they knew what was going on. Now, like I just said, you can't predict them as well. But, you know, it is like, I wish there was more variety for leaders. I do know that they're planning to release more leaders in DLC, future DLC, sorry. That's annoying, because it's like, okay, I see how it is. Every game's got to have DLC and money grab, because they're not going to give you the complete game. They want to make more money as the game's older. That's just business nowadays. It's annoying, but whatever. So I'm excited for more leaders eventually, but 6 leaders as of right now is like, really? Come on. Sorry. So, I wish there was more leaders just because the leaders are, you know, you can only have so much variety with how they go, how you play them. In Halo Wars 1, there was like some leaders that worked really well together. Their strengths complemented each other. So whenever we played 2v2, our winning strategy was Prophet and Forge. Whenever we played 3v3, we did Prophet, Forge, and Cutter. Because Prophet and Forge just complemented each other so well. You had the healing ability, but also shield generators for shield bases. You had air, and you had tank for vehicles. And then you added Cutter, because you didn't want to double up on air with Anders, you didn't want to double up on, you didn't want to have multiple Covenant that much. You could, but it was more beneficial to have multiple UNSC. So, I want more. And other than that, that's my opinions on Halo Wars 2 Beta. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you have other ideas, let me know in the comment section below. And we'll see you next time.